Day.
And I'm Richard Day.
We're both chiropractors.
We've been in practice together for 11 years.
Married for 10.
With 3 beautiful little girls.
We know it's possible to have an exceptional practice that's built around your life.
Because we've done it.
So we've created this podcast,
the Lifestyle Practice Builders Podcast.
We'll interview chiropractors, answer questions, and bring you resources to help build and grow your practice.
So let's get this party started.
Welcome back to the Lifestyle Practice Builders Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Haley Day. Last week, I talked about the choices you have for after graduation. I'm going to give a quick recap before today's episode, but you might want to listen to that episode first if you haven't already. It's episode number 145. It's only about 20 minutes long. All you have to do is scroll down, press play, and listen to that first. If not, I'm going to recap real quickly here, and you can decide whether to go back after today's episode. So once you graduate, you're going to have 2 choices. Do you want to work for yourself, or do you want to work for someone else? If you want to work for someone else, then you'll need to start preparing and looking for a chiropractic associate position now. You need to make sure that you're doing everything that you can be doing during school in order for you to be the best chiropractor for that job. So don't put this off until the last minute. And we're going to have a lot more information in next week's podcast about the steps to becoming an associate and what you can be doing now to secure a great job later. So listen to that episode next week. If you want to work for yourself, then you're going to have a few more options. Some of the most common options I talked about last week are 1, to become an independent contractor, renting space in another office. 2nd, to open your own office. 3rd, buying an existing practice. And the last option I talked about was starting a house call concierge practice, treating patients in their home or office instead of having an office for them to come to. So that's everything. That's a recap of what I talked about last week, but you can listen. There's a lot more information in there for you if you want to do that. Today, I'm talking about the 7 things you'll need to consider when making this choice. So whether you want to work for yourself or for someone else, and if you want to work for yourself, which choice is best for you? If after listening to last week's podcast, you're still on the fence between 2 of the choices, then hopefully everything I'm going to talk about today will help you make that decision. I might even bring up something you haven't considered that may change your course, so stay tuned to the end. You can digest all the elements and feel good about whatever choice you're making for yourself for your future. If you've already graduated, then this will be a great episode for you to listen to and decide your next steps. When will it be time to move on from your associate position or make changes in your own practice? So please share this episode with friends, and let's all help each other out to be as successful as we can. And there will be more chiropractors treating out there, and that's all good for all of us. So the first 3 factors I'm going to discuss today all have to do with money. Savings is the first and one of the most important factors you're going to need to consider when making the choice of what you're going to do after graduation. If you haven't listened to episode number 142 yet, in that episode, I talk about how I was able to save $50,000 while in school, which was enough to help get us started in our own practice. And so if you aren't saving money while in school, then that would be a great episode to listen to. Having savings will give you a cushion. It also allows you to make choices that you won't be able to make if you don't have money saved up. Savings will allow you to invest in your own practice. It allows you to buy a practice and also to cover your personal overhead while you build. We were able to start our practice with savings, and our savings would have also allowed us to get a loan to purchase practice if that was what we wanted to do too. So here are some ways you can start to build savings now. You can set a budget so you know how much money you're spending each month and how much money you're bringing in. You can cut unnecessary expenses and also bring in extra income, maybe by selling items in your home, getting a job, or even working on campus. And so those are all the things that I talked about in episode number 142. To learn more about those, you can listen there. You can also download our savings checklist and budget worksheet, and that will help build savings for your future. It will be at the blog post for this podcast episode. It's also kind of sprinkled throughout on our website. So if you visit several of the blogs there, you'll find links to download our savings checklist and budget worksheet. And those can really help you set those budget items today and help you secure some savings for the future. The second factor to consider with money is your budget. What is your personal overhead? Do you have rent or mortgage to cover? Do you have a family to feed? Do you have car payments? Do you have other income? Maybe a spouse has a job that can help with your budget. Do you have utility expenses, credit card debt? Those things all come into play with your personal budget. And having a family to feed and a house to pay for will make it harder to cover those expenses and open your own practice with savings or loan compared to if you're able to live at home for a year while you build your office. So all of us are in different boats when it comes to having a family or a home or all of these extra expenses. The more expenses you have, the harder it does make it to start on your own. It's not impossible, but you have to consider that when you are planning to open your own office, what all of those budget items are. So we're talking about money, which includes savings and personal budget. It also includes your ability to get financing. In order to secure financing, you'll typically need savings, someone that will gift you the down payment for the loan, a personal investor, or a co-signer for the loan. And getting a loan would be necessary if you're planning to buy a practice or you want to start a practice, but you don't have enough savings to carry you through until you're profitable. So you'll need that extra money to get you through that time. Taking out additional loans will increase the amount of interest you're paying across the board. So make sure that if you do get another loan, it's a smart investment, you're spending wisely, and you're going to carry yourself through the time until you're profitable enough to cover your business overhead and your personal overhead. If you don't have any or you have minimal savings, if you have a large personal budget you need to cover and no ability to get financing, then becoming a chiropractic associate at this point should be a clear choice for you. On the other hand, if you do have savings, a low personal budget, or you have the ability to secure financing, then opening your office could be a possibility. Let's take a look at the other factors. The fourth element to consider is your location. So will you stay where you're at short-term or long-term? If you'll only be there for a short amount of time, then it's probably best to find an associate position to cover your expenses and get some experiences before moving. So you can be working a year or two, gain the experience, and then when you're moving, decide to make a different choice. If you're planning to be somewhere long-term, then definitely starting your own or buying an existing practice is best for a couple of reasons. For one, you don't want to sign a non-compete in an area where you want to settle and raise your family, unless you plan to be an associate forever. If you sign a non-compete in an area where you want to be a long-term, then that could cause you to have to move or have a long commute when you do decide to start your own practice. Also, if you're moving back to your hometown, then you should have the social network already in place to build your own practice, whether it's an independent contractor, as a house call chiro, or opening your own office. Some of you might be married, and where you live might depend on that person's job. I spoke to someone just last week that will be changing her plans based on a great job offer her husband recently got. So if you're temporarily living or moving to a place but have plans to relocate, then I would recommend finding an associate job first. There's no reason to go through the process of building your own practice if your ultimate plan is to move, and depending on the time frame for when you'll move and some other possibilities. For example, if it's for a longer period of time with possibilities of forever, then you might want to look at starting your own or buying. Building a practice or buying and growing an existing practice might be a good investment for the time you're temporarily located. If it's a longer term than 1 or 2 years, you can invest that time and it will pay out at the end when you're able to either sell the practice or pass it on, maybe even do what we did and keep owning that practice and managing it from your other location. So many options there and many things to consider depending on where you're going to live short-term, long-term, those first few years after graduation. So we've talked about money and location. Now I'm going to talk about confidence and work experience. There are 2 things to consider when we're talking about confidence. Are you confident in your clinical experience to be on your own? Also, are you confident in your abilities to start, grow, and manage a business? So you have clinical confidence and business confidence. If you've passed Part 4 boards, gotten through clinic at school, have mentors you can talk to, have resources to review, then clinical confidence shouldn't be a problem when you're starting your own practice. You'll have extra time to examine, research, investigate, review, and discuss with others as you treat your patients, and you'll really start to get into a rhythm of clinical confidence. When we started our practice, we were very business confident, but not super clinical confident, but we did have mentors and others that we could reach out to when we had questions. And we, of course, had the time to really research and look into the treatments that we were providing and the issues that our patients were having. So business confidence may be different because there's a lot to do outside of being a great doctor. It can be overwhelming for someone who maybe hasn't had a job before, or someone who has had a job but never worked in a medical office before. So prior work experience will play a large role in your business confidence. If you're feeling really unsure about your abilities, then you'll need to develop this confidence by either working as an associate for a time or finding a coach or management group you align with that will help walk you through the steps. Then over time, you'll develop that business confidence. There are many things to consider when finding a coach or mentor, so I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here. You can also read a blog post that I've created about finding a chiropractic mentor. It's on our website in the blog section. I recommend reading that blog post first before you commit to any management group. And if you are mildly confident in your abilities to start and build a business, but having a checklist, a guide, and an occasional phone call would be helpful to you during the process, then check out the resources on our website. The Chiroplanner is a great guide to help navigate the overwhelm of getting started, and the foundation and ROF system are perfect for navigating through the process and developing the systems you'll need to get started. We created these resources for those of you that haven't connected with a large practice management group and know it's not necessary to make hefty payments to them in order to succeed in practice for yourself. If you have the confidence but need a simple guide combined with the ability to get feedback in our Facebook groups, then visit our website, lifestylepracticebuilders.com, click on resources, and you can learn more about those there. We know you don't have to waste thousands of dollars being babysat by management groups in order to succeed, because that's what we did. We've also helped many others like you do the same. So check out those resources if that's something you're interested in, and they're there for you. That's why we created them. Back to our list. We've talked about money, savings, budget, the ability to get financing, location, confidence, and work experience. So the last element is time. Do you have extra time to devote to starting, building, and managing a practice? Or would it be better with your circumstances to find an associate position that you can work 30 to 40 hours a week and be done? Because starting a business takes a little more time and energy, marketing and networking some nights and weekends. It may mean bending over backwards to meet your patient's scheduling needs while you grow. And do you have that kind of time? Devoting the time now to build your practice will pay off. But if you don't have that time or aren't good with time management, then building your own just may not be the right choice for you. Being an associate would be best if you work better with a schedule and under the direction of someone else. And there's nothing wrong with that. We all have different strengths and weaknesses, and figuring out what your strengths and weaknesses are will really help you find your path to success. So whether it's being an associate or opening your own practice, it's whatever is right for you, and it has nothing to do with anyone else, because you have different goals in life and you have different strengths and different weaknesses, and we're all here playing a different game. So don't judge yourself based on others that you are in school with or that you graduated with, because we all have our own journey. And so I hope this discussion has helped you. If so, please remember to share it with others. Make an Instagram story or post. We love that. Tag us, Lifestyle Practice. We'll share your post too. You can also share this post on Facebook. You can find us there at Lifestyle Practice Builders Podcast. We would love for you to join us in our Facebook group to share your thoughts. It's a business and marketing for chiropractors group. Having success in chiropractic is all up to all of us. So we need to work together in order to succeed and grow. And thank you for spending time with me today. Have an awesome day.
If you enjoyed this podcast episode, please share it with your friends on Instagram and Facebook. And for those of you who are already subscribers, we really appreciate it. Thanks for the reviews. We love reading those and knowing that you're loving the podcast. If you're looking for more tips and inspiration, be sure to check us out at lifestylepracticebuilders.com or join our business and marketing Facebook group for chiropractors at facebook.com/group/lifestylepractice.